Oh, but then I just have a question. How do I get added to this group? I just heard it from Brunei.
I'm sorry.
How
I'm
do
sorry. We're on the recorded line. What was your question?
how do I get into this group? Like, I know you're having it every
Okay,
week.
so after I don't know how you got to the chat. If Ronit got you, just forward your number and I will add you to the group. Okay, good evening, my beautiful ladies. We on recorded line. Let me just read. Give me a second. The dedications. Our class is sponsored and dedicated. Just give me a moment. Thank you for your patience. Our class is dedicated, sponsored by Sarah Fuzailov for Leilu Nishmat Avraham ben Tamara. Also for Refuah Shlema Gabriel ben Ima Shalom. Also Refuah Shlema for Bechor Chai ben Esther. And for Sarah, I love you too. Let it be for the zechut of, hello, my beautiful Mazal.
Hi.
Okay, so for the zechut of the entire Klal Israel, please put your phones on a silent mode and please keep the conversations to the minimum, or better yet, to the zero. Okay, we continue learning. We learn our precious gift Shabbos, and we are on day 36. Shabbos, a permanent rest. On Shabbos, we should experience a permanent rest and not merely a temporary relaxation. As Rashi derives from the pasuk, 6 days you shall work, and on the 7th day it should be a complete rest, holy unto Hashem. Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz Zatzal, the Mashgiach of the Mir Yeshiva, clarifies this with the following explanation. A temporary rest means that a person has not really changed his inner traits, but he merely controls them on Shabbos. He still has a bad temper, but because of the elevation of Shabbos, he has self-discipline, and these traits are not manifest. But the ultimate in Shabbos observance is that a person should uproot those negative traits, which are contradictory to peace of mind on Shabbos. Only when we uproot traits such as anger and arrogance will our rest on Shabbos be a complete rest. Adapted from Growth Through Torah by Rabbi Zelek Pliskin, page 220. Which is, we're all familiar with that. Whenever a person, Chas v'shalom, gets upset or angry, as a matter of fact, they say, Shabbos is not the day of discipline. Whoever has kids, it's not the day of discipline. So which means why? And we as parents, we feel like I'm an authority, I'm the parent, and the child misbehaves. And it doesn't matter what day of the week, I feel it's appropriate. I just feel like I'm entitled to say to the child what I feel that it's right. But Rabbanim always say, do not make Shabbos to be a day of discipline. Why? Because the child will get to hate Shabbat Chas v'Shalom. We don't want them to associate mommy's anger or getting upset or me being punished or sitting in the corner or holding a chair or whatever with Shabbat. So Shabbat always, if you don't mind, put yourselves on mute. Let me just put you on mute. Okay, so basically, we have to still be able to explain. You know what? When we work on ourselves, on our midot, when we learn how to control ourselves better, and we have more emunah and bitachon in our life throughout the day, it's much easier for us. And when we are calmer, the atmosphere in the house is always calmer. We set the tone in the house, ladies. And what affects us? How we set the tone? Everything. What we ate, how our sugar spikes. I'm not joking, mamash. How much we slept, how much we didn't get enough sleep. If you feel, and it has happened to me when my kids were young, many times, if I felt that I was overworked that week and I was extremely underslept, there were days I would go to sleep early, regardless what's going on. Just get up and go to bed. That's it. Because the household needs a healthy mom. And you have to do what is right. It doesn't happen every day. But if you feel that you are at the moment that you have to go to sleep early, please do everybody a favor. Just go to sleep early.
It's not always possible. You know what I mean?
When I collapse, I
When the
just
kids are
collapse.
very little.
Possible, not possible. Adios. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
But you have to put little kids.
The Baruch Hashem, there's a husband in the picture, and if there isn't, he'll grow up to be one. Okay. Sad shochet. The following halachas apply. The following halachas apply to the melachas of catching, killing, salting, smoothing, trapping an animal or insect. Tzad. It is asur to put out mouse traps or fly catchers on Shabbos in order to catch insects. For example, you have a mouse trap. Let's say a glue stick. Let's say you saw. Let's say yesterday you saw a mouse running somewhere, and you feel like I have to get him. Not on Shabbos.
So what if you have it before Shabbat, then it happens to be caught on Shabbat?
No, you have to remove it before Shabbat. Wait.
Wait a minute.
No, you mean if it's
It's already there and it's caught on Shabbat. Like, what do you do? Can you remove it?
But Shabbos mouse.
You have to remove it? You cannot leave the mouse there.
Yeah, why not leave
Okay,
it?
so Leah, what did you say? So you leave it. I would say leave it. You're not gonna touch it.
You're not touching it.
So that's it. So okay, so on Shabbat you don't place the trapper. Okay. Now it is asur to trap an animal or insect through closing a door to catch it or putting a cup over it to suffocate it. This is allowed. This is allowed if the insect can cause harm or pain. Example, a bee.
Or a mosquito.
If it has a chance of causing a harm or pain, yes. Pushing a fly out of the house. Kil achar yad. For example, with the elbow or broomstick is allowed. With a different way, not a regular way. With the elbow or broomstick is allowed. Okay. Killing insects or causing something to bleed. Shochet. It is asur to step purposely on an insect in order to kill it. Purposely. Because Shabbat.
Like insect, okay, I said like murash,
Also, murash нельзя.
But if the комар летает, you can kill it.
You can't kill it.
You could make okay. So it says pushing fly out of the house with the elbow or broomstick is allowed. You cannot purposely step on the insect in order to kill it. Next, it is bless you. It is asur to cause something to bleed. Bless you. Therefore, if you usually bleed when you use toothpicks or floss to clean your teeth, you may not use them on Shabbos. Taking out a splinter on Shabbos is allowed only if you're sure that it will not cause bleeding. Interesting. Okay. Another interesting thing my daughter shared with me about the halacha of kibbut of avayim that she learned in school. She goes, "Mommy, do you know we learned in school that if the child is a doctor and a parent is sick, and if the child could easily, let's say, inject the parent with whatever the parent needs, the child cannot do it because they're causing the parent pain or bleeding."
Even if they allow it to the parent. Doesn't matter, no, do it.
You're not allowed to do it.
Unless you're the only one who can do it.
Even if you
Let's say you're in,
you're
I
not
don't know, in Yavitano
Right.
restaurant,
Yeah,
and you're the
unless
only
there is nobody.
person that you can do it, then you're allowed. Friends that are able to do it.
But what if the son is a dentist and you only trust your son to do it?
You have to ask
Can you?
your Rav.
Okay, so just keep that in mind.
In general or only on Shabbat?
In general.
Oh, in general. In general, kibbut al va'em if the child is the doctor and the parent is sick and the parent needs something that it's painful and it will require bleeding. A child cannot cause pain or bleeding to the parent.
What if the mother-in-law or father-in-law?
Oh, why? That's fine. Oh, absolutely.
In-law, father-in-law, or mother-in-law. Is that go into that category?
Very good question. I have to find out. I don't know. I would assume no, because you're not.
What school did your daughter in?
Shabbat.
They don't in high school.
Okay, ladies, we are learning Zera Shimshon on Tehillim. Those who are new in our Zoom, I see some new faces. Welcome, welcome. Just wanted to let you know that Zera Shimshon was it's a name after his book, after his sefer. There was an Italian rabbi who lived 300 years ago. He was a Sephardi, and he had only one son who unfortunately passed away in his young age, and he didn't leave any offspring after him. And he wrote books, and he said, and he wrote books. That's why it's called Zera Shimshon. His real name is it's right here, Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani. And he said that whoever learns from my Sefarim, he will be guaranteed that he will be blessed with the health, wealth, honor, children around his table like olive shoots, and Baruch Hashem, it was taken by storm in the last 15 years all over the world. Everywhere you go, everybody knows Zera Shimshon. Everybody learns. So some people do it weekly on Shabbat, some people do it during the week, some people do it daily, even for 5 minutes, because they want to tap into that promise of Zera Shimshon. And Baruch Hashem, in our own class, we are in our, I can't believe I'm saying it, we are in our 7th year, Baruch Hashem, of weekly classes. And we have seen with our own eyes how girls got married, how girls had children, they bought houses, they passed their licenses, a lot of good things happened, Baruch Hashem. And we saw that Hashem's guiding hand was with us, and there is a bracha in it. And whenever there is a bracha in something, you don't stop. Talking about bracha. It says, a person cannot complain about something good in his life. How can you complain? Example, a person is pregnant. A lady is pregnant. And she's having difficult pregnancy. She's nauseous and she's vomiting and she has pains and aches, she has weakness. She cannot complain. She can't. She's not allowed to. Why? Because when she complains, it's like lack of gratitude. When there is lack of gratitude, the bracha doesn't, there is no shefa. Shefa only comes when there is gratitude. Also the story of a woman, if you remember, there was a woman who had a husband who one day the husband abruptly just passes away. And she was poor and she had a lot of debt. So she comes to the rabbi of her generation, and the rabbi says, bring all the jars that you have in your house. She brings all the jars. And he says, do you have something in your house that she said that she was poor? That you have something, anything you have? Because yeah, I have a little oil. He brings that oil. Bring that oil, he says. Okay, so bring that oil and bring all the jars you have. So he gives a bracha to the oil, and he starts pouring the oil into the jar. And she sees with her own eyes how the jar gets filled up. And you could imagine pots, pans, everything. She keeps filling it up with out of the small vial, keeps coming. She goes, wait, that's all you have? She goes, I have more at home. So go get it. So she runs home. She brings more pots and pans, and she fills it up. And she fills up the entire, whatever she had already in the house. And then after this, and it keeps pouring. She goes, enough. As soon as she said the words enough, the oil stopped dripping. So whenever there is a bracha, you never say enough. Say, may the bracha always continue. Okay, so day 24, and we are learning in Zera Shimshon on Tehillim, and we are on Tehillim Kuf Tes Zayin. 3 approaches for successful prayer. I loved Ahavti ki yishma Hashem et koli tachanunai. I loved, desired him for Hashem to hear my voice, my supplications. The Shimshon says, very interesting, he says, why the pasuk starts with ahavti? I loved. When ta'avti, I desired, would have been a better fitting word to be used. In fact, ta'avti is precisely the word that Rashi uses to describe ahavti in the pasuk. Had the pasuk simply used that word, it would have made a lot of sense, as in, I desired that Hashem should hear my voice. Why did the pasuk not simply say, Ahavti es Hashem ki yishma es koli? I love Hashem for he hears my voice. So the Shimshon provides us with the 3 ways to understand the meaning of the pasuk. And each of them suggests that the him is not referring to Hashem at all. The first approach is according to the Arizal. Arizal says that in order for our prayer to be accepted by Hashem, before we start praying in a day, we say the morning brachot. So before we start praying our morning brachot, we should tell Hashem one line, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm taking upon myself that I will try my very best, bli neder, to do the mitzvah of ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. I will love my fellow Jew like myself. I accept upon myself this mitzvah. And after I say it, now I'm going to daven. Whenever we start our day with this line, and obviously we don't just blurt it out of our mouth. It's not just the service of the lips. It's actually coming from the heart. So whenever it's sincere and Hashem sees it, you can't fool Hashem. Hashem sees everything. So whenever it comes sincerely from us, our prayer will be accepted. Because why? Because we are part of Klal Yisrael. I accept them upon myself. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Therefore, it says, I loved Klal Yisrael before I began my prayer to you, Hashem, and Hashem should therefore hear my voice and accept my prayer. This is the first approach. Second approach based on the words of Chazal, Bava Kama 92a, would tell us that someone who davens on behalf of his friend for something he and his friend need, both the same thing, will be answered first. Let's say you want to have children and I want to have children. Let's say I'm going to daven that Malka Bat Esther should be blessed with the gorgeous, beautiful children this year. Hashem says, wow, Esther, you're amazing. I know that you also want to have children. For example, oh, you know what? Because you davened for Malka first, you're getting first. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, between my first and second child, we got Hashem hooked us up with a chavrusa, Ashkenaz chavrusa, and we both had first child naturally, and the second child wasn't coming. So we took upon, I was the first one to initiate, and I told her, let's learn the laws of Shmiras HaLashon daily, 2 halachos. And by Zadjam and the Zechus, we should be blessed with the children. And sure enough, 3 months later after we started, I got pregnant first, she got pregnant second, 2 weeks apart. When she went to give birth to the hospital, to the labor and delivery, and she called me from the hospital to say mazel that she had a baby, the same phone call that she is at with me, she goes, let's learn, let's not miss. I go, wait a minute, you have your book with you? She goes, I have my book with me. I couldn't believe it. A woman in labor, she went to the hospital with a book. I mean, I'm lucky if I get my bag. But she remembered the book. Wow. I said, wow, okay. So, and you know what? Because she initiated, so to speak, the second round, not to fall off the track, the second after that, she got pregnant first. Also 2 weeks apart. And then I got pregnant second. Whenever you initiate something, Hashem always gives you first. Okay, so the second approach is the approach of Chazal, that when we daven for somebody else, also there is a website actually called Daven for Me. Whoever needs something, any issue on, there is a website, you could look it up, Daven for Me. I believe they're in Brooklyn, Borough Park somewhere. You contact them, not on Shabbos, and you will tell them what Yeshua you need. They will hook you up with the name to daven for. They will take your name, and they will give you a capital Tehillim. They're going to give it Tehillim to say. You're going to say for that person will say for you, for the same Yeshua. I used to be part of all those stuff. Okay, continue. David HaMelech says, I loved my friend and I prayed for him, even when the thing I'm davening for is something that I need myself. And therefore, Hashem hear my voice, my supplications. Hashem will hear the request that I made on behalf of my friend, and he will hear my voice and help me even without my asking. That's because I'm davening for someone else. And the rule is that when you daven for something that both you and your friend need, you are answered first. That's the rule. The third approach involves the concept of loving one's fellow Jew. It says, whenever we want to ask Hashem, we always ask in plural, not in singular. We don't say, please give me. Whenever I take the kids to school in the morning, the first line that comes out of my mouth, and I always fix it because I'm with the kids in the car. Please, Hashem, help me to get to. Please, Hashem, help us to get to and back safely, without any tickets, without any accidents, without delay, without a mishap. Always us, not me, not alone. So the third approach is every time we want to ask Hashem, we say, Hashem, can you please give all the singers of cholesterol, all the bashers, this way they're all married, and including, let's say if I'm single, including me. Or can you please make everybody rich, including me. So we always ask in plural. We make us to be part of the tzibur, a part of the community. Why? Because community has zechut. I'm not sure.
Can you say the other way? Let's be with this and everybody else. Let's say, like we say, first line of this person with Klaus, right?
Okay. If a person davens in the plural form, if the person davens in the plural form, and includes the public in his prayers, then the merit of the nation helps his prayers to be accepted. In light of this, we can say, this is what the pasuk means. Ahavti, I love Klal Israel, and I include all of them in my tefillos. Therefore, Hashem listens to my voice and my supplications. That's because I include myself in the tzibur, the public. Since that's the way I pray, Hashem will surely hear my voice, because the merit of the public is great and helps prayers to be accepted. Abaye provides us with such an example in Brachos 29b to 38. He teaches us, one should always associate himself with the tzibur. Therefore, when reciting Tfilat Haderech, one shouldn't say, may it be your will that you lead me toward peace, place my footsteps toward peace, guide me toward peace, and so on. Rather, one should say, may it be your will that you lead us toward peace, place our footsteps towards peace, and so on. And since he's including himself in the tzibur, his prayers will be heard. I'll tell you more. There was a very big rabbi. The driver was driving him, and one day there was on the road there was a bus on the right side, and the driver, and there was only one lane. So the rabbi tells the driver, slow down a little bit, slow down, let the bus go first. And the driver says, Rabbi, why? But I could, it's my way. He says, no, you don't understand. The bus driver is a shaliach tzibur. Shaliach tzibur means a messenger that brings the public to their destination. They go first. That teaches us to be sensitive to the needs of the many. Whenever there are many, the many win. Abagnazi. Okay. Correct. If you did it, what was that I missed out? She was saying, if the bus, God forbid, hits you, you're not gonna get anything. If you did it once, make sure you do not do it again. Kuf Yud Ches. You pushed me hard that I might fall, but Hashem assisted me. Why does the pasuk use double wording, repeating itself with the words Dacho, Dechisani, you pushed me hard? The Gemara in Yoma teaches us that when a person commits a sin and repeats it, he eventually starts to feel as if it's not a big deal. The person has become used to committing that particular sin and stops being careful to avoid it. Since the Yetzer Hara knows how people work, he does his best to convince us to do an Avera at least twice. Knowing that the moment the person slips and commits the Avera twice, there is a good chance he will end up doing many more times, even without Yetzer Hara's help. You know, one time a person, Chas v'Shalom, touches something on Shabbat, he might say, okay, nothing happened to me. And next time, Yetzer Hara will push him again. He could touch again. He says, okay. Yetzer Hara's job is to make us sin at least once, at least repeat it twice. And then it becomes easier for us to sin. Our job is to resist it even once. And if we made a boo-boo, ask Hashem, please forgive me. I didn't mean to cause you pain. I didn't mean to do it. I feel bad. And sincerely feel the pain. But Hashem assisted me, Hashem helped me, and I didn't end up repeating the Avera. Not only that, I even succeeded in doing tshuva after committing the sin for the first time. That's why it says, you pushed me hard. Who pushed me hard? That I might fall, Yetzer Hara. But Hashem assisted me. The David HaMelech tells that Yetzer Hara pushed him hard, and it applies to all of us. Zera Shimshon discusses how our tefillahs are more powerful when we daven for one another. There was a beautiful story brought by Rabbi Nachman Seltzer. There was a guy who calls up his friend and says, you know, something crazy and terrible happened to me. I cannot tell you the details, but if whatever I thought about is going to work out, I'm going to call you and inform you that it worked. I just want you to know that something crazy happened to me. And the guy who received this call, he says, I didn't understand a thing, but okay, if you want me to hear that, I heard you. And that's it. Fine. So then this person says, now I'm going to share with the public what happened. And then he's going to go back and share with that person because. So this person who was telling the story, his baby was not feeling well that morning. And so his wife says to him, why don't you take the baby to the doctor? And the doctor's office is across the town in Yerushalayim. And you have to take a train and you have to take a carriage. Fine. So the husband takes the baby, takes the carriage, catches the train. He usually never takes the baby anyway. He usually never takes the train. But here it was a situation that he couldn't control. So he said, okay, fine, I'll help. I'll do it. So as he's trying to catch the train, he's catching the last train, the last wagon. And as he's sitting there, apparently there is a certain policy and procedure in the train system in Israel that if certain trains, I don't know exactly, but certain trains, they are not allowed in a certain part of the train. No baby carriages are allowed to be taken. And this young man wasn't aware. Mom, she didn't know. So as he's sitting down, one guy in a baseball cap starts walking towards him and looks like he's very unhappy. And And he literally starts attacking him in a very loud voice, in such a voice that it's other, in a voice that everybody in the train will draw the attention to the two people having this argument. And he's attacking him and he's raising his voice and he says to him, how dare you? Didn't anybody ever tell you you cannot get on the train, on this particular part of the train with a baby carriage? And this guy, he says, no, I'm sorry. Because if I did know that I'm not allowed to take the baby carriage on this part of the train, I would have never done this. He goes, huh? And he keeps going. He keeps ranting at him. He goes, you didn't know? What are you, a yeshiva? And now he sees that under his cap, there is a little kippah. You could see that he's a frum guy. And now it hurts him even more. And he's going at him and he's giving him. And while he's giving at him, what? Instead of learning Gemara in your what, you're learning in Kollel? Instead of learning Gemara, get some common sense, learn. So he doesn't answer back. And meanwhile, there's another person on the train. And he gets up and he starts adding a couple of cents of his, saying that, oh, these people, these Haredim, these frum people, and he adds a little bit more oil into the fuel. And then he walks away, and nobody on the train stood up to defend this guy. Nobody. And it hurt him tremendously. And he felt like, I didn't do anything. I wasn't aware of the law. He goes, what? You never get on the train? He goes, no, I never get on the train. You never knew? He goes, no, I never knew this. So, and then as he's coming out, when it was time for him to get out, this man with the baseball cap, he goes, shame on you. You did such a chilul Hashem. He was so embarrassed. And the man says, I'm usually a very strong personality person. I don't easily get I don't usually get offended or get hurt or embarrassed by anybody attacking me. But here I felt like I was just throwing some garbage on me, some got on a slap on both sides of the face. I felt like, why? For what? Why did you do this? There was no reason, no rhyme or reason. But I felt, he goes, okay, this is what Hashem wanted me to go through. And at that moment, I said to Hashem, I went through a tremendous embarrassment moment. I have some friends who are not yet blessed with children. I want this embarrassment moment to do something good in this life. Can you please, Hashem, use my embarrassment moment that I just had in the train with this man for? And he names a couple of friends, the names. And one of his friends that wasn't yet blessed with the kids, exactly from that incident, 9 months and 3 days later, had a baby. And then after this incident happened, he called back that friend whom he called and he said, something crazy happened to me. I cannot tell you the details. I just want to tell you that it worked. It worked with one of the couples I gave the zechut, to there are 2 more other couples I prayed for, but okay, we'll get to them too. But at least one. So he was saying how whenever we don't ask for tests from Hashem, but whenever this test does come our way, use it for the benefit of yourself and your family and your other people that you know. There is it says that there's a guy, another story, who was happens to be that during Hanukkah on one of the business trips, he was in Spain. So he was in a hotel and he was a big fan of Zera Shimshon. So he whenever he traveled, he would pick up the Zera Shimshon book with him and he would go with it because he always wanted to learn a little bit, to have a zechut. So he says to himself, I'm in the middle of nowhere, Spain, Hanukkah. Who knows if there are Jews here? Who knows if anybody even knows what Zera Shimshon is? But I will give it a try. I'm going to go to the lobby, and if I see any Jews, I'm going to offer to learn Zera Shimshon. He comes to the lobby and he sees there are Jews in Spain, in hotel. And he comes with his book and he tells them, I have something to tell you. And he tells them about the promise of Zera Shimshon, about Segula, to learn. And he tells, would you like to learn with me? They go, of course. They sit down and they learn. And they come back and they go, where is the next class? He goes, okay, we could have another class. Then the next day, whatever, while we're here in the hotel. So they have another class. 2 days later, there's one guy who came to the class in the hotel. He says, Rabbi, I have to tell you something. What do you want to tell me? I just want to tell you that my son was on Shidduchim for a long time, he says. And he was dating and he could not commit to the girl he was dating for a long time. He could not ask her to get married. And I just couldn't deal with it anymore. When you asked first time around that, who wants to learn Zera Shimshon? I figured, I never heard of this. But when you said it's a segula, it has a very powerful thing. I said, let me learn for the zechut of my son. Let Hashem give him clarity and he already make a decision. He goes, guess what? This morning he called me up and said that he made a proposal to the girl. That he made a decision. Just 2 days later after we learned Zera Shimshon. I just want you to hear this, Rabbi. I want you to know. I was like, wow. Baruch Hashem. Hashem is unbelievable. I said to myself, we have to spend Hanukkah in Spain.
Come back to that.
For a good thing, not for a bad thing. We have to go to the lobby with the book.
Here's some twos.
It's Kuf Tes Zion and Kuf Yud Ches Tehillim. I want to say something that I learned beautiful. I have a very special friend who brought this for me from Israel called Brain Power. I was learning this. It's a book written by Rabbi Aaron Yoshua Pessin. So I was reading it the whole almost the whole Shabbos. I couldn't read the whole book, but whatever I learned, I want to share with you. How to make our brain to be able to remember the material we learned. How to make our brain powerful. One of the things that he shared, the rabbi, is the angel for remembering has a gematria of 100. And the angel for forgetfulness give me a second. The angel for the memory, I believe it's Michael, he said, for remembering. And the angel for forgetfulness, I forgot the name, let me see if I could look it up. He said there is a difference, basically, if we do something, in order to remember, I'll tell you from so many pages I learned in one line, the difference in the quality, the malach that is responsible for the memory has, I don't remember exactly, but I will tell you now with in general, certain amount of qualities. And the malach that is responsible for the forgetfulness is responsible for certain amount, has a certain amount of qualities. The difference between them is 101. 101. And the one that the malach for forgetfulness is 101 more. So in order for us to overcome forgetfulness and remember the material we learned, we have to review it 101 times. Wow. I know you might say it's a lot, but you know what? The rabbi says, let's say you have a child who is learning in yeshiva Gemara. I have a child who is learning in yeshiva learning Gemara. So it was a good lesson for me. So he says, And the child says, I can't remember. For example, the child says, I can't remember. I'm learning, I'm looking, I can't remember. He says, the child should look at the Gemara and read one line and repeat one line 101 times. Then the second line, he says, one Gemara that he's going to learn is going to take him no more than 15 minutes. And it's a guarantee he's going to remember. I was like, wow, 15 minutes only takes to do 101 reviews for one Gemara.
Did it work? Your son?
I just learned. I don't implement on him, but I will. B'ezrat Hashem. No, but it's only not only for him, it's even for me. A lot of times I want to learn something and something that's new for me, and I'm like, I feel like it's not. How many times? 101. 101.
He had photographic memory.
So, by the way, it's a blessing to forget as well. No, I'm not
Right,
joking.
yeah,
It's a blessing. They say it says here, if the person would not remember, would not forget the day of his death, he would not want to be married and raise a family and build a house. So in other words, because we forget, oh, one day we'll die. We all know one day we'll die. But we forget about it. Hashem makes us forget about it. So that pushes us to get married, to build a family, to build a house. It pushes us to do things, to be productive, which is unbelievable. I learned something beautiful today. There was a guy. It's a regular story, but there's a lesson that I took from it. A story about a guy who was Spanish from Cuba, and he was 20 years old when he decided to sell drugs and make some money. And within 2-3 years of selling drugs, he made a couple of millions. So by the age he was 23, he goes and lives in Spain, talking about the Spain. And one day he drives expensive cars. And one day when he returns to the United States, he gets caught by the authorities and he goes through the trial. During the trial, he denies everything, that he never did anything, but still, I guess they had enough evidence. He gets incarcerated. His term was for 45 years. He finishes it within 26 years. So he goes in at age 23. And he said that at age 23, when he was there, he said he was so embarrassed that he tarnished the name of the family, that his sisters were embarrassed because he was all over the news. Right now, the guy's in the 60s. So he said that he was embarrassed that he did such a thing. He said he never used the drug, but he used it to sell it to make money. And he said when he was doing introspection in prison, he understood that when he comes out of the prison, nobody will want to hire him. Because if they hear how many years he was in prison, nobody would want to give him a job. So he asked himself, how am I going to support myself? So he, listen, what a story. And my daughter says to me, Mommy, you believe him? I go to him, yeah, look him up. So we Googled, he actually there. Okay, so the guy said he went to college from prison online. He got his bachelor's. From prison, he got his master's. And then he went for PhD. And you know what they said to him? PhD program said, oh, we don't offer PhD program to people from prison. So they denied him. They denied his application. He said, because I knew that nobody would want to hire me and I will not be able to work for the boss, I have to be able to work for myself and be able to make money. I started learning trading.
Oh,
stock trading. I started learning stock trading. He goes, not only that, I got married in prison. How? Okay, how? So he said before he got married, he started to write books about life in prison. The book started to go and get published from prison. Okay, the students in colleges started to read his books, and then one student who was reading his book starts to talk to the girl who is also in college. He says, "That's funny. You remember you said when we were conversing that you are from so and so country and so town. The author of this book is also from so and so country and so. Do you happen to know him?" And the lady says, "We grew up together." Now the lady finds the address of the prison of this guy. I guess it was in the book. And she writes him a letter, nasty one. And she tells him, "How dare you to get yourself into such a trouble and to get yourself to where you are." And then she sends a picture that here she is, a mother of 2 kids. She's working hard. She never thought of this. Why do you do this? Like she was trying to. And then he looks at her. He gets a picture of her with 2 sons and a nasty letter. He says, I look at her and says, "Oh, I would make it to be my girlfriend." and then he starts writing back and forth with her. She comes to visit him in one of the jails that he was in New Jersey. He was all over the country because it was federal crime. She ends up marrying him. And he says, "I married this lady. And I was sending her money from prison through trading I was doing and supporting her and her kids."
Wow.
And he said, when he came out, the first million I made, he said, was in prison. Right now he's multimillionaire. And I said to him, I'll send you the video. And I said to him, and you know what he said? He said, "You are the CEO of your life." He goes, "If I could do it in prison, you have no excuse not to do it."
But he's a goy.
It doesn't matter, goy, Jew, doesn't matter.
The point of the story.
The point is that you were in charge of your life.
Nachon. So I said to myself, that's it. We are learning trading.
Okay, now we're going to trade. You have to know what you're doing.
Right. So what's the lesson out of the story? The lesson is
Trade.
we cannot tell, "Oh, I am so and so because my father didn't give me a good education, and my mother didn't give me the good education, and I'm this and I'm that." We cannot blame on parents on situations we're in. We have to take charge and take matter into our own hands. And when we do so, we have to plan, we have to have a goal, we have to have a plan, and we have to execute. And I'm not only talking to you, I'm talking to myself. No, it's true.
That's right.
It's true. I'm not going to keep you long. I love you all very much. B'ezrat Hashem, and the zechut of all the brachot we made, all the amenim we made, all the learning of the Zera Shimshon, the halach of Shabbos, all the lessons we learned, that we should all take, that Hashem chooses a path for us, wherever we are. We have to look at it and make the best of it. And ask ourselves, what are the gifts Hashem gave me that I could use, that the society could make use of, and I could benefit the society. And by doing that, you're fulfilling your mission that you came with, that God gave you. And with that, with much bracha and atzlacha. Okay, and next week is Hanukkah, and Ella, what would you like to announce?
Wednesday.
Nothing yet?
Yeah,
Ella,
Wednesday.
okay, Ella said you ordered. It's gonna be next week?
No, it's next week, but I'm saying we're here on Tuesday, Hanukkah's on Wednesday.
Right, okay, so then it's gonna be the following week?
It's up to you, guys. She wants to do like a Hanukkah party. She wants.
So it's gonna be
I
there.
don't know if I can put it together with everything that's going on.
Right. Okay, to be continued, to be announced. Thank you, ladies. Bracha and
Thank
atzlacha.
you, Reb.
Thank you.